Now we go out on the video chat and join Toronto Argonauts quarterback McLeod, Bethel, Thompson. Yeah, put your headphones on, guys. Where do we find you this morning, McLeod? Are you in California or are you out in Toronto?
No, I'm in California. I'm currently in Oakland, California, actually at my brother's house.
Nice. So I heard from you spending the off season. Is this right? Working on your master's in education at Cal Berkeley. Are you still in class? Are you still working on that?
Yeah, I'm actually reading some papers this morning, and hopefully I'll finish up my thesis this spring. I'm a little bit behind right now, but I'm trying to play catch up and finish up before the season starts.
Look at this. How does that work with you while you're playing professional football in Toronto, trying to work on your master's degree? That's pretty great.
Yeah, I love the Canadian Football League for that. The 6 months on, 6 months off really provides a good chunk. And I'm one of those people that if I'm not doing anything, I'm bored and I drive people around me crazy. So I got to keep my hands occupied. So the 6 months off was a really good time for me to jump in and take this program. And it works perfectly with the spring semester. So I'm very grateful that the Canadian Football League is structured that way. And I'm excited to kind of improve myself in other areas outside the game.
What's the plan with the master's degree? Is this more just, hey, ready for whenever football's done, life after football, or something you can kind of use during the year or during the off season, or what's the plan here?
A little bit of both, for sure. It's the program is called the Cultural Studies of Sports and Education. It's at Cal Berkeley, and it's kind of a relatively new program, but it integrates the worlds of sports and education. So I'm currently working on a very esoteric kind of educational terms in the coaching of and the implication of football itself. So it's definitely something that looks good on a resume down the road, but that's not kind of my purpose. I kind of do it for the love of it and pick up nuggets here and there that I think play football and also set me up for life beyond.
I'm just curious, McLeod, does this have any tie-ins when it comes to quarterbacks and the language you have to learn as a quarterback when it comes to learning the playbooks and learning different playbooks and being able, is that kind of the path that this is involved in and the symmetry between them? Am I correct in that?
Well, to not get too far into it, because I'd be talking you guys' ear off for the next 40 minutes.
I find it really interesting. Yeah,
that's exactly kind of what I'm talking about.
Okay,
so I'm using this educational term. Vygotsky was this educator at the turn of the century, and he kind of got published in 1978. Was his last book, and he has this educational term called zone of proximal development, which basically says that a learner's ability with help is their true. With assistance is their true understanding of their educational potential. So how we can use those educational tools in an area of football to help kids understand measurable skills like, okay, if you train for 3 weeks, you can improve your 40 time by this amount of time. And then do that in cognitive areas as well. And they can actually measure and see for themselves and develop agency through seeing that growth. And then using those kind of tangible and measurable growth and apply that to educational domain that, like, if you do read a book, then you will become a better English English student. And trying to just make those crossovers between sport and academics.
Hey, McLeod, it's Nick Lewis here. How have you used that to really learn from so many different offensive coordinators that you have every year in Toronto? Does that really help you? Because every year, I mean, you're going with Jarius now, which is a version of Tressman's system. I think a little bit more advanced now, but.
I kind of cut out there at the end, but I think I heard the whole question. Absolutely. I mean, that's the greatest thing about football is that it is a language. It's a discourse. And I feel at this point, I mean, I was in the NFL and I learned probably maybe conservatively 10 to 12 offenses in my 6 years there. And then I've been up in Toronto and I learned another 3 now. And it's just each time you learn it, you find a different way of learning it. You learn how you learn. You learn the best way to understand it. Do you want to watch it as you're learning? Do you want to watch film? Do you want to learn the basics and know the terms before you jump into film and kind of see it visually? Each time I think I'm getting better at learning offense I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy the growth. I enjoy the seeing different ways to beat a defense. And I'm really excited to work with Coach Dinwiddie. So far, it's been absolutely fantastic. And Coach Jackson, met him when I was up in Toronto. Really excited to jump in with his offense and kind of learn from him. He's played in the league and coached in the league for so long at such a high level that it's just another expert at their level that can help me become a better football player.
Toronto Argonauts quarterback McLeod, Bethel, Thompson joining us on the video chat from California. Hey, I don't want to really look back at last year. It was, good and bad. I mean, the team, we know about the struggles, but I mean, over 4,000 yards, 9 300-yard games, 26 touchdown passes. How are you feeling heading into, another season building off of that? Because, we know that you're a competitor. We've heard that a lot. And now you've got another battle, with Matt Nichols in terms of trying to, win that starting job coming out of training camp. But you had a great year statistically last year. How are you feeling through the offseason heading in towards training camp?
I feel great. I feel awesome and excited the growth that I had. I think that maybe about 10 years down the road, I'll write a movie about last year, and you'll see the craziness that it truly was. From top to bottom, it was a exotic adventure in many ways. But I think my 3 years in Canada have been very much the same way. I think that each year I've grown in different ways as a person and as a player. And like you said, I'm really confident coming off of last year. I played 13 games, 9 of them I threw for over 300 yards. I was only played a half in 2 of those. I was benched twice, and I'm confident in my skills, and I'm excited to go into a competition with another great player, Matt Nichols, who I have a lot of respect for. I don't shy away from that. I think that I should be given a job? No, that's football. Competition breeds the best out of everybody. So I'm excited to work with Coach Dinwiddie. I'm excited to work with Coach Jackson. They always say that a flower doesn't try to compete with the flower next to them in nature. It just blooms, and so that's kind of my growth in these last 3 years, is to not look side by side, to not look to the person next to you, and just see how I can show market improvement. And I know my best football is ahead of me. I know what my potential is, and now my job is to prove it to everyone else, and to go show and win football games.
I love that, McLeod. In a world...
I think he's minoring in philosophy as well here.
But in a world where entitlement's at an all-time high, everybody wants things easy and given to them. Here's a guy who's put up numbers and knows and understands that you got to continue to work and battle and wants the competition. I love that. But you're going to have your work cut out for you, man. I mean, you look at last year's roster, and we were talking about this in hour one. Your top 6 receivers right? I mean, Darrell, S.J. Green, Armani Edwards, James Wilder Jr., but you brought in some new players, Devaris Daniels, Jawan Breskison among them, and trying to bring in T.J. Jones. What do you think about what's being built around you in terms of some new weapons and some changes there?
No, absolutely, and I sit on both sides of this fence. I want to first by saying that I absolutely love and admire the teammates that I played with for the last 3 years, and especially last year. What we went through was episodic, like I said, and the way people fought and stayed together through things that they couldn't be controlled. Forever respect for an S.J. Green, a James Wilder, these guys that worked their butts off, and all of them, top to bottom, players that just kind of stuck it out and through thick and thin were showed their character and showed who they are as men. And I really play the game for my teammates, and that's to earn the respect of my teammates is why I step on the field and why I take shots in the chin, is because that's what this game's all about. It's pure respect. It's winning, and it's doing it as a band of brothers. Having said that, going into this year, I'm super, super excited. Seeing Coach Dinwiddie and Coach Jackson and Pinball and what kind of culture they're breeding and what we're going forward, I think that we're on the precipice of something really good. And I think that the amazing thing about the CFL football game is that a team can go from not winning a lot of games to winning a whole lot of games. And I think we're on that path. And obviously there's a ton of hard work ahead of us. And we have to go work through training camp and we're through the season, and there's a lot of attention to detail to be done, but I'm excited about where we're going.
McLeod, you've kind of alluded to it a couple times here, and I'm just curious as to maybe what you're talking about. You talked about last year and being a bit of a movie maybe down the road. Can you maybe give us a trailer of what you're talking about? What was it? The difficulties maybe that went on? Because you've kind of, maybe mentioned it. It sounds kind of like it was maybe, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it does sound like it was an interesting season, and maybe what you're referring to there.
Yeah,
Way
it was
to go.
bizarre. I mean, just any time a team can go 4-14 and be that talented, there's got to be something that's getting in the way of that. So it was no one person's fault. It was it was a crazy universe kind of cosmic reaction that I think something was tainted in the water, or we had bad mojo, or someone put a voodoo curse on us. It was just a crazy season, and you kind of just have to take the lessons you get from it and learn and move on. And I think you'll see 10 years down the road with the movie. So.
I was just wondering who the star of that movie was maybe going to be.
Everything as an athlete, man, you go through so much, and yeah, like you said, it's hard because you're in a situation you can't really, you can't really say anything about it.
Yeah,
because you're in it, right?
I mean, you're in it, but I mean, you're going back into another situation, and you don't want to get put in a situation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's tough.
I'm anxious for the movie.
I know players that played there last year. I know people that coached there last year, and I know a little bit about what was going on. And yeah, it's very rough for y'all guys, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm a fan, man. So go out there and slang it.
Nice.
So McLeod, I'm a big fan of good people over qualified people. Good people always win, and when it comes to the Toronto Argonauts and the CFL, I mean, there's no better person to circle than Pinball. Right? What culture is being built in Toronto? What's the Pinball effect right now with the Argonauts?
Spend 2 seconds with that man, and you'll see the amazing juice for life that he has. I mean, the amount of times I've run into people across the Ontario province, and at an airport or at this or at that, and they're kind of like, "Oh, what do you do? What are you doing here?" "Oh, I play for the Toronto Argonauts." "Oh, pinball!" It's an immediate reaction. It's immediate, and fans that he's met, 20 years ago, or people he's had one interaction with. You can see the spark of life he provides, and I think that's the direction we all go. If you have someone at the core of your organization that has that type of juice and has that type of love for their peers and has that type of vision, but also, he's a winner and that's here to do it. And that's in all parts of his life. So I think it's just a magnetic force that is going to bring people together and push it in the right direction.
McLeod, that's great. I'll let you get back to the books. Appreciate you taking a study break to spend some time with us this morning. And hey, we wish you all the best. Looking forward to getting the season started.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anytime.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.